everyone. Hello, hello, hello. I'm your host, Margo Lovett. We are here with a special presentation today. I'm talking about WomELLE, getting ready for an extraordinary conference which is set to take place in October. Right here, I have the founder, Miss Nagilia, who is going to tell us all about this wonderful conference. And then we're going to get into this conversation of women in leadership in 2017. Nagilia, open it up and tell us all about this upcoming, much anticipated conference.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. I don't know where you are in the world, but it's one of them. And thank you everyone for watching. And we will be having a leadership conference that's for women and also for men that want to build a confidence and be a leader. So it's open, I guess, for everybody. So the conference is to help people understand the meaning of being a leader. And also, if you are a leader, and okay, let me put it this way for you. If you're a leader, you are having a hard time having people following you, then you need to be in this conference. If you are a leader and you don't know what you are doing, you need to be here. If you have a job as a manager, supervisor, and none of your employees are listening to you, you need to be in this conference. This conference is to help you build yourself as a leader, to get you where you need to be, but also to create a networking for women to help each other. And a lot of us, we have issues going to in-person conference. I know I do. When I gave birth in 2014, when people send me an email, say, hey, we're having a conference, can you come? I don't even finish reading the rest of it. I send you a reply, said no, because I want to be with my son. And I know there is women out there that's going through the same thing. We have children, and we can't make it into a 2 days conference that's out of state or even in state, but we don't have a babysitter. So this conference is for you to stay at home and listen to 30 leadership speakers. That's going to take you where you need to be in your life. So those speakers are not just women with education, but also they have the background. That's what they've been doing their whole life. They work for Fortune companies. They build the followers. They have people every day calling them and asking them, how can you help? So you have all those 30 wonderful, beautiful, strong-minded women for 2 days. And you don't even have to go anywhere. You just have to be in front of your computer and be open to ask questions, and they're here to help you for a full 2 days. And the good thing about it, you can ask questions. You can talk to each other. That's going to be at the conference. It's a good way to actually imagine when you go to an in-person conference, there's 500 people. Do you think you have time to actually talk to 500 people in that conference? Nah, you don't. But online, you have the chance to actually send a message to that person and say, hey, what's your email? We can connect after this. So you can exchange. And also we created a forum for you. So starting September 20, you have a place to create a profile and talk about your company, but also start contacting other people that's going to be a part of the conference. You can read about the speakers. You can ask them questions. So you can start networking a month prior to the conference. So I think this is like a big thing. And I don't know why everybody else is not doing it, but WomELLE is doing it. And we are working very hard to bring this to you guys and to help women succeed, but not only women, but also men that's looking to build a company, that's looking to get where they need to be. The ticket is only $179. So if you are going to a conference, you're gonna spend that much. And if you buy it early, like me, I'm an early bird, I always wanna save money. Hey, I have children. Oops, never mind, I have one. But still, I wanna save money. So I usually buy my stuff early. So if you wanna buy it early, it's only $99. I think you can afford it. But if you can't, we are a nonprofit organization. So shoot me an email and I will post my email where everyone can see it and tell me, hey, I can't afford it. We are here to help. We'll help you and we'll get you to the conference without you have to pay anything. So that's pretty much what the conference is all about. And it's all of us coming together and learning something new, something you don't know. So if you want to learn how to be a leader, and it's 2017, so you need to be a leader. Stop being a boss, because being a boss only put money in your pocket temporary. Being a leader builds you a follower, but also help people will come to you. Instead of you bugging people every day and asking them for help, they will come to you because they want to follow someone that is strong, that is know what they are doing. And to know what you are doing in leadership, you need to be in this conference. And we work hard for you to bring it to you. So we can't wait to have everybody here.
I love that. I love what you said. Be a leader, not a boss. I'm going to bring in, thank you, Nagilia. Thank you so very much. I'm going to bring in our speakers. These are the WomELLE cast members, some of the ladies who are going to be present and share with you. They are influential leaders in their own right, and they have much to pour into you today. So let me present to you Miss Heather Criswell and Dr. Cozette White. Dr. Cozette M. White, and we also have Miss Sabrina Clarke. These are influential leaders. They are authors, speakers. They are CEOs and founders of their own company. Heather comes from she's the founder of Wise Inside. Dr. Cozette White is the founder and CEO of My Financial House Enterprise. And Ms. Clarke, Sabrina Clarke, she is the founder and managing director of Build Global. And would you ladies agree that indeed, when we talk about leadership, we are talking about leadership on a global basis?
Absolutely. Heather, I think you're on mute, so I won't chime in. I'll wait for you to unmute yourself, and then I'll come in after you. You muted yourself again, Heather.
I was just...
There you go.
Yeah, I was just saying that, absolutely. I think this is the time and space for us to rise up and shine bright. And we are often told to rise and grind. And I think that we are shifting that to rise and shine. And that's why we're here, to shine bright and be a light for others to light that way as well. So that's why I'm so happy to be a part of this conference.
Sabrina, you were going to have a word on being a leader versus a boss. And I like that, rise and shine. That's exactly what's going on here, Heather. Sabrina,
absolutely.
Please, give us some insight.
Yeah, so I like the distinction between being a leader versus being a boss. And I think there's space for both. So because I run my own company, I am a boss, but leadership is what I am and who I am, not only for the people who work with me, but the people that I support in my community, my clients, my ecosystem. So I think leadership today for everyone, including us as women, is not only about what we are giving to our respective businesses or our respective corporations, it is what we're giving to our ecosystem and everyone around us. And I loved how you talked about leadership being global. My company purposely has the word global in it because look at us now. I'm here in London. You guys are based where you are, and because of technology, we're all able to share our thoughts and our ideas about what we mean in terms of leadership. And if we extend that to mentoring, if we extend that to business, if we extend that to trade, we are borderless. And in order to be borderless, there are certain skills that we need to acquire and cultivate across the globe. So I love the time that we're in. I love Heather's comment about rising, because I do think that in this time, particularly for women, we have an opportunity because of technology to rise all around the world and connect and build with each other.
I love that. You're saying a lot there. Dr. White, you're coming to us from My Financial House Enterprises. Now that seems to be, we have a lot of men in those areas. When we're talking about leadership versus boss, how do you work in that environment? And you are a leader versus a boss. How does that work for you?
Very good question and very good topic for us today. And I think just being that I've come from corporate, I spent 20 years in corporate America. And of course, as we all know, being in management and executive roles, I was exposed to men, predominantly all men. And I'd sometimes sit in a room of all men and count how many women were in there. And sometimes it'll be 20 men and maybe 2 women. But there's definitely a clear distinction, a clear divider between being a boss and being a leader. In my personal opinion, I think most anyone can step into the role of a boss and somewhat manage others. But when you become a leader and others are following you and others are looking up to you for guidance and advice and whatnot, and you're building, not just in corporate America, but you're building externally, you're working in your community, you're building in externally, and others are looking to you for advice, it says something about you as a person. And especially all of us that are on this this conference call right now, you know, it says something for us as a women leaders. You know, we're leading the world, so to speak, right now. Yes, we have our male counterpart, but I think that leadership, it's just all about your following. And, you know, in this world of social media where you know, we want a huge following, it's okay to have a huge following, but what are you doing with those individuals that are following you? I could care less about having a whole bunch of people on my social media page, but if I'm interacting, if I'm engaging, if I'm providing quality information to those individuals and helping those individuals, then that distinguishes me from a boss versus a leader. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, indeed. You bring up an interesting point also coming from corporate. There are bosses and leadership. We look upon leadership indeed, but the boss is always how you're referred to. And this question is for all of the ladies. When you made the shift from being a boss and now you are a influential leader, all 3 of you are in your own right, what mind shift did you have to, what had to shift in your own mind so that I'm no longer a boss, I am a leader? What shifted for you ladies?
I think a lot shifted for myself, just personal accountability and knowing the fact that I had what I'm going to say, a lot of different eyes on me. So I had to carry myself in a different way. I had to make sure that my association in the organization was such that, let's put it like this, I couldn't commingle with everyone. I just had to change a lot, knowing that the eyes are on me. And it truly, truly does make a difference for anyone that has made that shift from being a employee and maybe they were promoted. Most of my positions I came in the executive position. And so I knew that I had to always distinguish myself from my employees, but carry myself a lot different. Not that I'm, you know, don't be better than anyone, because then you won't be a leader and you won't have your followers, but the respect as well. So all of that, if that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
For me personally, it was really coming to grips with the understanding that with my influence comes a great responsibility. So I could say things before as an employee that really didn't have impact either to my wider team or the people around me or have a ripple effect. But that shift came when I realized that, and I always knew that my words have power, but there is a very different thing when people are looking at you as a collective when you are a leader. And therefore you become very purposeful about your intentions, about your words, about how you're communicating and the impact that has with the people around you. So for me, it was understanding the responsibility that comes with the influence. And it had nothing to do with a title, because a number of people have titles that aren't leaders. They are bosses, but they're not leaders. It was understanding that responsibility and understanding how to cultivate that was a distinction for me.
Got you. Heather, what about
Yeah.
yourself? When you formed your business, where did your mindset shift?
Well, I think being a leader on this planet is really about ditching the rules. And I think that when we are in the structure of corporations, of businesses, we are in a rule-based society, right? That there are certain things you do and don't do. And I think as a leader, it's really going into your heart. And for me, that's why I created Wise Inside, that wisdom is within us. But going in and finding that wisdom within to share with the world. What is the light that I bring to this planet? That to me is the leader. And how do I inspire other people to shine their own unique light in that space? So that's what a leader is to me, is really getting in touch with my own wisdom. What do I want to share on this planet? Back to what Sabrina said about the intention. What's my intention here? How do I want to shine bright on this planet? And how do I inspire others to shine their own unique light? That's what leadership to me is all about. And that was the shift when I went from owning a preschool and a wellness center to really embracing that everybody has a specific light. My friend Taryn Voget at the Everyday Genius Institute is everybody has their own unique genius. And let's bring that out in each other so again, we can rise together.
Oh my goodness, I love that. When I listen to you ladies, I hear you as influential women, accomplished women. You're coming to us as women who care about what you do. I don't want to belabor this, but starting out with Dr. White. Dr. White, when you left corporate, you began your own business. You are My Financial House Enterprises. How did that, your leadership skill, how did that change for you coming from corporate? Now this is my own. I am responsible for everything now. How did that shift in your mind?
The shift came very easy for me because I think that being that I work with numbers and I just always, whatever I learned in corporate, I transferred over into my own business. I knew that in order to grow, in order to blossom, that I had to continuously maintain a leadership role. No matter how many employees I decided to hire, I knew that if I'm the go-to person, I'm the one that the staff looks up to, I have to always carry myself as a leader. So I think that the transition was easy for me, being that I was in that role. Now, there were some other things that were a little hard for me, making the shift from corporate to coming over here on my own. But the shift for me was easy. I didn't have a problem.
Leadership was always there. You cultivated it in corporate, and you just maintain that. Got you. Sabrina, you were speaking to us about accepting the responsibility of being a leader. When you decided building global was something that you were going to undertake, what happened in your mind and in your spirit so that you could be the leader that you are now?
So for me, I knew that I had leadership skills that were innate, but I wanted my company to reflect my values. And so I took a lot of time to really think about what the brand of my company is, what the values of my company were, and making sure that in everything that I did, it communicates that. And so unlike previously when I was in corporate environments, yes, you have, mission statements, etc. when you're working for somebody else. But when it's your business and your name is attached to it, I think you become very, very specific and focused about the partnerships that you have, the relationships that you build, because all of it, good, bad, or indifferent, is a reflection of you and your leadership style and what you want to communicate. So that was the shift for me, was being able to be very clear about what my values are for my business, which is a natural extension of who I am, but also be very considered about the types of partnerships that I cultivated and the relationships that I had.
That's very wise. That's something that I want to get back to also, because it ties in with this thing of integrity. We're going to double back on that. That's the next question. But Heather, you seem to be a very heart-centered person. When you left the preschool, and you have an extensive background in other areas of expertise, when you began Wise Inside, What was that shift inside of you so that you are Heather Criswell, the author, speaker, and founder of Wise Inside? This is mine. This is who I am. How did you form that you hold today?
Well, it was definitely years in the making, right? And business after business gave me the confidence to really stand in my own presence and my own self. And what I've realized over time is that we are inundated with information, and especially nowadays with everything that is available to us at the tips of our fingers, we are inundated with information, solicited and a lot of unsolicited advice. And what I've realized over time is that in order to run a business, in order to create a company, you really have to hone in on, back to what Sabrina said, of what feels good to you. It's an extension of you. Why are you here? What are you doing here? So I think it's really important that we connect back into that wisdom and trust it. Trust that we have the knowledge that we need. And when we don't, we can ask for it and get what we need, and know in our hearts to come back to that center and say, does that feel good to me? Is that what I'm wanting right now? And really connect back into that space for self. And then the business just flourishes because I am standing in my light and doing my best to shine as bright as I can and sharing the information that is unique to me with the world, and knowing that everybody is whole and capable and complete, that I'm not fixing anybody, nobody's broken. I'm just reminding them of their greatness. I'm reminding them what they have forgotten. So that's where I'm at right now, that's where I'm at in the space of my business as it's evolved, is that before I was like, with my preschool, I was like, this is what you need to do with your kids. This is what you need to do as a mom, as a dad. And now as a mom, I'm like, sorry. Sorry I said any of that to you. So I've evolved as a human being too, to say, I see the unique genius in you, and how can I support you in that? How can I help you?
I listen to you ladies, and I hear all of you firm and sure about your why. You have evolved into your leadership styles as you move about in your businesses. My next question does get back to this thing of integrity. You all have your ground rules. You know what your mission statements are, what your why is. How do you deal with that other business owner, that other entrepreneur who has questionable leadership skills?
Sabrina, kick it.
So I think it's very important that in business, not everybody's going to have the same value set that you do. And what that does, and what I've learned to do, is understand where we can align. So I don't work with people that I'm misaligned with. And we may be aligned for maybe a week, we may be aligned for 12 months, we may be aligned for 5 years. But if we are together for a specific reason and purpose, then we are together for that specific reason and purpose. And when that relationship is done, or the project is done, we can both respectfully part ways. There are certain things that are just an absolute no for me. There are certain places people I just won't work with because there are certain values that are just too extreme, and I couldn't do that. But if your leadership style is questionable, from my perspective, I do believe in grace. So therefore, I knew when my leadership style was questionable, and it took me some time to understand and evolve into the person or the type of leader that I wanted to be. And I'm still evolving. And that has nothing to do with age. It just has everything to do with experience and realization and education. And that can happen at any time in someone's life. So for me, if you lack integrity, if it's a case of I can't trust the words that's coming out of your mouth, then I can't do business with you because you can't honor your contract. If it's a case of the way that your style is maybe abrasive or abrupt, etc., that is a characteristic, that is a character thing that can be managed throughout our relationship. But if our agendas are aligned, if our purpose is aligned, then we can work together for a short or long-term period, is how I approach it.
Without ever wavering from what's right for you.
Absolutely not. Because that's where the slippery slope starts. Once you start moving the goalposts on you and your company and where you will go, it doesn't end. And it leads to a place where you probably start questioning yourself and your ability and credibility to execute anything. And also, or worst case scenario, it could really have negative impact on your business.
Duly noted, duly noted. Dr. White, chime in on this, please.
I would say for myself, I hold that very to my heart, integrity. It's extremely important for me given the work that I do. So I shy away from individuals who show some type of lack of integrity just based on the type of work that I do. It's high on the list for me. You must have integrity. And if I see any indication that maybe it's not something that I should get myself involved in, then I don't move forward on any type of deals, any type of partnerships. It's just something that I hold to my heart, dear to the heart. And I think part of that is just given the fact that in this industry, I've been burnt before, and just knowing who I work for and the industries and the agencies that I work for, it's just too critical to get myself entangled with individuals that don't work with high ethical standards.
Cost you too much if you get involved with the wrong people.
Too much.
Too much. Gotcha. Heather, what about yourself? Chime in on this conversation, please.
It comes back to trusting my gut. You know, when I meet somebody, I ask myself, is this what I'm wanting? Is this a good match? Are we in alignment? Those are the questions that I ask myself. And if not, then regardless of how pretty and shiny the package looks, I have to decline and say, no, that's not a right fit for me, and trust that I might be letting go of maybe thousands and thousands of dollars and exposure and all the things that I quote unquote want, but knowing that something else is lining up more in alignment with me, and trusting that gut feeling that when you walk into a space, does this feel good to me? Am I feeling in alignment with this person? And also focusing on my own integrity, because what happens, I know for sure, is when we stay in integrity, we attract people in integrity. And you know, I go back to this about haters on Facebook and trolls and stuff. When we stay clear and we stay intentional and stay in a good space, they don't really exist. Knock on wood. I haven't had a lot of haters and trolls because we stay focused on my integrity, where I'm going. And if they do show up, I give them love and send them on their way. That's that.
Got you. You know what, ladies? You all have been very transparent. You have exposed yourself and let the world know what kind of leader you really, really are, and why people should really take a note and listen to you when time for this conference to be birthed. When it's time to tune in, I want them to remember Dr. Cozette M. White, Sabrina Clarke, and Heather Criswell. We have a few minutes left. Will you take a moment, Dr. White, Sabrina, and Heather, will you take a moment and give us one final nugget and tell people a little bit about your business?
Sure, I'll go ahead and start. I am, as you know, Dr. Cozette M. White. I am the CEO and founder of My Financial Home Enterprises. We are a global consulting firm. We assist individuals and businesses with taxes, accounting, and managerial type work. And one thing that I always say to everyone, whether you're a business owner or individual, make sure that you pay yourself first. That's first and foremost. Pay yourself first. And as I wrap up, just you all can follow me. I'm at Cozette M. White. That's on most social media platforms. And yeah, but make sure you make it a point to pay yourself first.
All right. Sounds good. Sound advice. Sabrina Clarke, please.
Sure. So Build Global is my company. I'm the founder and managing director. It's one company with two components. So Build Global Advisory is essentially strategy consulting, business change and transformation. I help clients either make money or save money. I also have a production company, and that is where I produce and curate art and have a whole host of activities, film screening, podcasts, etc. And that leads me to my point. I was able to create my space because I don't know anybody else who's doing both strategy consulting and producing under the same umbrella. And so as you start to think about your style and leadership, create your own space. If it doesn't exist, create it. and be clear about your extensions, your intention.
Be clear. I like that. Thank you very much, Sabrina. And Miss Heather Criswell, will you close us out, please?
I would love to. Thank you so much for having this time together on Facebook and just having a woman collective come together and rise and shine. So thank you for that. My company is Wise Inside, and it's all about returning you back to that wisdom within, that inner knowing. And I do it by supporting people through podcasts and books that I have written, Facebook Lives, things that remind people in the moment that we are wise inside, that we have everything we need right here, right now. So again, my final advice on this whole leadership and life is trust that we are here on purpose, that we matter, that each one of us has some special gift to bring to this planet. And it's not about the big purpose like an Oprah or a Bill Gates. It's about the little purposes throughout life, the little tiny P's throughout life that we are doing every single day that is changing the shape of our world and bringing us back to love. Remind yourself of the greatness that you have within, and you will shine so bright, and leadership is a no-brainer after that.
Awesome words of wisdom, all three ladies, Dr. Cozette M. White, Miss Sabrina Clarke, and Heather Criswell. We have had an awesome conversation. WomELLE, this three ladies from the WomELLE cast, getting ready for the great conversation, and that's going to come up in October 20th and 21st, led by the one and only Nigelia. So I thank her for putting this together. We will return next Wednesday at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I think it's 2 o'clock Eastern Time. We're going to have another conversation, 3 more women from the WomELLE cast. We're going to talk about more conversations as far as women in leadership. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back here next week. I'm Margo,
Thanks,
Lovett,
everyone.
your host.